Okay, so I really enjoyed your lesson in terms of getting to know the students. I think it was really effective. And I just wanted to share some noticings and wonderings, though, that I had overall um, with you before we kind of talk about it. So one thing I noticed was that you pulled on prior learning. And I was just wondering if the students that were doing the lesson happened to, have demonstrated that they had a good level of learning on this subject, or if it was just the nature of the lesson that allowed them to do so well.
Um, those two have demonstrated a fair amount of confidence in what we've learned about maps so far.
Okay, great. Um, I noticed the explanation of legend versus map key. And at first I was noticing that they were having trouble with legend. And I wondered why you picked maybe the word legend, but then that correction, I think, helped to clear up a lot of the confusion that the students were having. So had you always intended to kind of make that connection?
I was gonna go with map key, but I think Kelvin noticed that he knew the word as a legend, and it was listed in a book as a legend. So I tried to like tie the two together, and because I know that term is confusing, and map key is a little bit clearer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I wondered. I noticed, at various times, each of the students kind of sitting in their chair and like moving around a lot. Even though they were engaged, they were just kind of like um, their physical, self in the chair was a little bit like. I think Elena was like crouching on his chair at some point. I just wondered if, for the purpose of a small lesson, if that was okay, or if you would have corrected that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know. It seems like probably more appropriate when we're up and like moving around and doing things. And I didn't really think about it because it was so small. That would be something to keep in mind with a larger group.
Yeah, so kind of like when it's a smaller group, it feels like more appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what else. I noticed at one point one student seeming to zone out a little bit and get less, not even less engaged, but less participatory. And I wondered how he could maybe be re-engaged, or if you think it might be just a quiet student. Particularly, I think it was Kelvin I noticed.
Yeah, again, I'm not really sure. He is very quiet. I think he does have a really good grasp of the topic already. So yeah, I guess that would be a challenge, is to keep him challenged, to keep him motivated and engaged.
Okay, yeah. I noticed that briefly the students became distracted, myself and the other guests, and I wonder, kind of similar to with Kelvin, kind of zoning out a little bit, how what a good refocus for student attention was. It wasn't a major issue for this lesson, but just I was curious what kind of your thoughts were on how to refocus their attention.
I don't know. I guess I'm trying to find the line between like not being too rigid and like being aware when they're paying attention and when they're not. I don't know. Maybe it would be a time to like ask stronger questions or something.
Mm-hmm. I noticed a lot of positive reinforcement, which was really liked. I wondered if maybe the positive reinforcement could have been used for like refocusing. It's hard with two students who are like only getting distracted in little ways, but I wondered if that maybe could have been a tool.
Okay, like positive narration, getting back on track. Okay.
Which isn't normally like necessary for two students, but and then I noticed a lot of responsibility and trust being given to the students in terms of going up to the map and using technology to research, and I just wondered if there was a way to move that into like the bigger classroom instead of just like a smaller room.
Yeah, that would be a good. Maybe we could use a computer with the whole class and break into groups, and maybe like one group is in charge of the researching on the computer, and other students are in charge of like the drawing or whatever, what have you.
Yeah, great. Overall, I noticed a lot of active participation, and I noticed a lot of modeling and sharing of your personal map with the students, which allowed for a lot of connections. And I noticed just a lot of student collaboration and creativity being expressed. And I guess my final wondering is just again how this activity might be incorporated into a larger classroom.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe assign students groups.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
In a group lesson.
Yeah. Okay. Great.